Welcome to The Grand Balance, a biweekly podcast hosted by two working grandmas navigating the beautiful chaos of work and family. Hey there, Sharon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
I know. I feel like we haven't seen each other in forever. This whole weekend was fabulous because my daughter came from Texas on her own to visit me for a concert that she really wanted to see. So we saw that on Friday night and we hung out and did girl stuff. So
Oh, that's
it's been,
great.
I don't know the last time we were just like by ourselves.
And who took care of the kiddos?
Daddy, her hubby.
So he came out too, though.
No, he was at home with the kids and the
Oh,
dogs. And she flew out on Thursday. We went to dinner, and then Friday we hung out. I did work some, went to the concert, and then yesterday we went and got pedicures, went to her favorite Mexican, and of course, as you can imagine, as soon as she landed on Thursday, she wanted to go to Lolita's, which is standard practice for San Diego, I feel like.
it is so true. Anytime San Diegans are away for a while, they come back, they're like, I want Mexican first thing.
Yeah, it's so fun. She's like, we don't have good tacos." I said, "Okay." So, all in all, I told her we need to either make this a once a year or twice a year thing because for her and for all young moms, I think it's so important to recharge and get rejuvenated and, not have all the responsibilities, just even if it's a relief for a day or two. So, yeah, and then she was able to sleep in. I mean, just things, as a mom, you normally can never do.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been sleeping in on the weekends because I get up so early in the mornings during the work week, and I sleep in on the weekends, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, I'm really fortunate that I'm now at the stage of my life that I actually can sleep in. Because when you have little ones, they're up at the crack of dawn, and there's nothing you can do. So you never get that reprieve unless, like you said, you force it.
Well, and not only that, after you get through the young kid stage, then if you're a sports family, then you get to the sports phase where you're up at the crack of dawn for sports every weekend.
Right. Yeah. We've never had a break until my kids were out of the house.
Yeah, I agree. I never had a late morning, like, where I didn't have to get up early for many, many, many years.
Yep. Yep. So that's good. I'm glad she got that reprieve, and then you got to spend one-on-one time with her. I
I
love that.
know. I hadn't thought about how great it was gonna be, and it really was so fun. The concert was super things couldn't have gone better.
Who was the concert?
Zach Bryan,
Okay. I've
which,
a lot of
um,
people
uh
posting that.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but she is definitely that's one of her favorite artists for sure. But the concert was amazing. It was all over social media. He pulled a young kid on stage to play with him and blew the socks off of everyone.
Wow, that's cool.
So that was very cool. But yeah, just as our weather has been perfect.
I know. I go to the baseball games, and I'm cold at night because there's, like, this wind tunnel. It's been hot, like, I didn't have to layer up. It's just been beautiful. Oh,
That's a lot for you because you're always cold.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And we took the family last night, the grandkids and everybody, we went, and my son-in-law actually teased me. He's like, "So, let's see how long Angela lasts before she has to, like, put on a sweatshirt or something."
Yeah, because I rarely see you without a sweatshirt.
And I did bring a blanket, but I never had to pull it out. It was beautiful.
We don't need to sell anyone on San Diego, though. We generally have very nice weather, but it's been especially nice.
Yeah. Alright, so what are we gonna talk about today?
Well, first of all, we haven't done our segment of Don't Get Me Started, and a few things have come up. So I think we should just discuss to get it off my chest, to vent. I realize it's very much first world problems, but it's just things that come up that I would like to run by you and get your thoughts and see if you are so annoyed as I am.
Okay.
So don't get me started when deliveries can't make it to your front door. They're laying in your driveway, they're laying on your front walk, everywhere but your front door.
So, it's funny you say that because at least with Amazon, I have the instruction to put it behind a pillar that we have in our front on our front porch. For the most part, they do, but on the weekends, they don't have their regular drivers. They're kinda, like, contracted out, and they never do, and they'll put it right at the front step, like, with the spotlight on it. And we have porch pirates out in our
Yeah,
community.
yes, that's I'm gonna put the note on my Amazon now that you mentioned that, 'cause that's a really good idea. To me, it's very obvious because I have a bunch of plants on my front porch that has a lot of space behind it where things can be concealed very well, but it's hit or miss whether they manage that. But lately, not only do they not get it to the front porch, they don't even get it to halfway up the sidewalk, which is sometimes common too, like, "Hello?" It's been, like, on my driveway.
Yeah, see, and that's just like a target for somebody to just walk right by and pick it up and keep walking.
Yeah, there's also a strong chance that I don't see it because I come in through the garage and open the front door and I don't see anything, and who knows? I mean, I check everything now, but that's just my don't get me started on delivery people.
Yeah,
The
I
ones
think
that do it right,
yeah.
thank you very much because I very much appreciate it.
But you should if you don't already have it for those you can put it specifically in the instructions for Amazon.
Didn't think of that. I will definitely do that. So that was a good tip.
Mhm.
Every listeners, you can also do that. Didn't know that was a thing.
Although I have to say, to supplement that don't get me started, I am annoyed when Amazon said it'll be there in the morning. I just got something 2 days late, and it when I ordered it for next day delivery, and this has happened a couple times because I did
And here we are complaining about next day delivery. Remember back in the day where you'd have to wait a week and had no idea when it was going to arrive?
well, and what's funny is I both of us live near an Amazon fulfillment center, so we can get, like, next morning by when we book it or when we order it at, like, 8 o'clock at night, we can still get 4 a.m. deliveries.
I know.
So, yeah, so we're a little fortunate 'cause if my daughter tries to order something, it'll say a different delivery date than if
Oh,
I
that's funny.
Mhm,
Hadn't thought about that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on to another don't get me started. Lately, and it's been on multiple different airlines. Well, two for sure, United and Southwest, because those are the ones I fly to Texas most frequently. If you're not in like boarding group one or two, they have this new thing where they force you to check your carry on as you're getting on. And then you get on the plane and the majority of the bins are open.
Mm.
So that's very annoying because the whole point of bringing a carry on is so you don't have to wait at the luggage terminal thing. And I get it if like they see that everything's filling up and there's a small chance you're going to have space. I totally understand that. But lately it's been they're wide open.
So I've not experienced that, and usually they don't force it, but they'll call many, many times.
Yeah, I hear that. That's what I was accustomed to.
Yeah, I've not been forced, although they could get a little more picky about the sizing and say, "Nope, that one needs to be checked." Because 'Cause I've kind of, to be honest, pushed the limit a little bit.
Well,
So
I always look at the measurements and mine are within the measurements and I have no problem with them enforcing their size because that's their rule. But we don't need to be having blanket policies that anyone and not even I'm not even talking like the last boarding groups because I get it. If you buy the basic fare, you might have to expect that your carry-on might not be on there. But when you're in the middle groups and there is plenty of space, I feel like you should at least be able to take your chances and take it on with you.
yeah. And if just and I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but as a tip, if you're not planning to get bring a huge suitcase, but you'd rather check, then you should just take it to the gate and say, "You know what? Can you just go ahead and check this? I've decided to go ahead and do it," because then they don't charge you.
Exactly. Yes. I see tons of people doing that too. Yes. So those are my don't get me started that I've been holding on to that I needed to get out to the universe so I don't have to get annoyed any longer.
Those aren't too bad. I understand.
Well, this is something interesting that happened that I really want to talk to you about and advise our listeners because it's kind of a crazy topic. Before my daughter came, her baby, who is 6 months old, had developed a severe rash. No changes. She's still being bottle fed. No, she's not introduced any food yet. So the doctor was very perplexed by this. No changes, obviously, in laundry, no changes at all. It was like a very bad rash with open wounds. She was really uncomfortable, itching, horrible diaper rash. So she took her to the pediatrician, got some oral medication, got some lotions to put on her, and it seemed to be slowly clearing up. and every day she was here, her husband was sending her pictures, and so she could look at the prior picture to look at it to see, and it was like she could see improvement, and the baby was not as fussy and seemed to be a little more comfortable, so they figured the medication was doing its job. So since she was at my house, she had some downtime and she was able to scroll, which is something she never has time for at home. And she came down and said, "I think I figured out why the baby got the rash." And I was like, "What?" She had been looking online and there was a class action lawsuit being filed against the diapers she uses. And she's used the same diapers for her 2.5-year-old. So she's used them for a couple years with no issue. They reformulated how they do the diapers.
Oh.
And now
That
pe
that didn't work for my grandson because it would, like, leak. Are the same ones from Target or something?
it's yes, it's Millie Moon from Target, and some of her friends with girls had recommended them, and she had tried several of the other brands, but she specifically liked this one because she didn't have any blowouts with it. So I know we talked about it because that's one of the main reasons I wanted to mention it on the podcast because we have talked about these diapers, me giving glowing recommendations, especially for girls because we didn't have the blowout issue that I know you had with a boy. But she would have never suspected the diapers because she'd used them for so long. And just by happenstance, she came across the class action lawsuit. And now, after her research, it's been since the end of the year, since they've reformulated, that all kinds of people have had problems. So she reached out to her friends that also use them and said, "By any chance, have you had any trouble with rashes?" Sure enough, they too recently, kids have had the worst rashes they've ever had in their lives.
Wow, interesting.
So
You
then it made me
know
start thinking.
you don't know when these organization or these companies change their formula.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. You don't think about it because they have no obligation to tell the consumer. So you may research a diaper thoroughly before you start using it or any other product, and then they reformulate it and you have no idea,
Hmm,
which
interesting.
is kind of a like a crazy thing to think about when it's affecting a baby that can't really tell you what's wrong.
Well, and with products getting so expensive, these companies are trying to find cheaper ways to make things, different materials, different types of plastics, whatever. So I could see them continuously trying to quote unquote innovate their products.
Yes, I that makes total sense. The other crazy thing after I started looking into this was there's no federal law on putting ingredient lists on diapers, which is crazy because they're on babies. 2 states very recently have passed laws requiring this. So New York passed a law in December and Illinois passed a law last month stating that they must put the ingredients on the diapers, but those are the only 2 states, which I also thought was interesting because I never really thought about it, but your baby's in such close contact with diapers for so long.
Right. Right. That makes sense. I wonder what was the one app you had recommended before?
Bobby approved, so we were talking about that as well, and they do change as things are reformulated because my daughter was even mentioning with foods, when she checks foods, a lot of times some of the healthier versions or successful healthy brands get bought out by larger companies, and they do change the ingredients, and so unless you knew that they had been bought out or reformulated, you wouldn't realize there was something maybe in the ingredients now that you didn't care for or have your kids eating. So she has been, like, re-scanning items with the Bobby approved app on foods, and she has noticed some changes in, like, for instance, a bread she always used now uses something else in it that she doesn't want in her kids' foods, so she's changed it, but that's another thing you don't think about. Once you think something's okay, it can change.
Right. But then to your point about the diapers, if there aren't ingredients, then how would it really know?
Right. I would only know in the states that require the ingredient list.
Interesting.
So I would have never it was just such a crazy thing that she figured it out too, because had she not been at my house with a little bit of extra time on her hands, this could have been a vicious cycle for years.
Yeah, you're right. But there's always that mother's instinct. Like they know and they're going to go as you know, if something's wrong with your kid, you're gonna do whatever you can to fix it. So, she knew that it needed to be addressed, and I'm glad she had the time to do it. And I don't know,
Yes.
I think she would have probably found the time. If her baby was still having that much.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know what to research because she would have never guessed it was the diapers.
Right.
So she would have been I'm sure she already had been researching rashes and so forth prior, just trying to get to the bottom of it. But and she said eventually she might have thought to look into the diaper, but she said, like, she had just used it with no issue, like, very successfully for a couple years.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was food for thought about how things are made, and even with foods, if you're really picky about what the ingredients are of foods you're feeding either yourself or your family, it's a good idea to recheck these things periodically because it hadn't occurred to me that they can change.
Right. No, you're right, it's good advice. I and, what types of things do you even think about? I guess unless there's a problem, you probably don't.
No, you don't, and I mean, like, I used to use, like, the Rayo's tomato sauce all the time because I felt it was, like, a healthier option if I didn't have time to make it, etcetera, and then it got bought out, and now it definitely does taste differently, which made me look at the ingredient list, and it has changed quite a bit.
Really? That's
Mhm.
interesting because that's the one you get at Costco, right? My
Yes.
Yeah, my husband was saying he started buying that because it came from Rayo's, which is a famous Italian place in New York, and so he's like, "Oh, yeah, this is the same company," or whatever, but if it got bought, I bet he didn't know that.
But
Interest
then too, Angela, I heard that Costco on the version Costco sells, they reformulated it because I guess they were getting complaints, so it might be back to how it originally was the small company producing it. So, again, it's just like a matter of you have to kind of scan it and go through or just look at the ingredients and see.
I think that sounds like a lot of work that
I know, it is, but
and us working grandmas don't have time for.
I scan stuff all the time before I buy it.
Oh my gosh. Food for thought for sure to remember that things change. So think about that first. If things start happening, kids start getting allergies to things that you've normally had or rashes or any, adverse effects, definitely take a look.
And maybe even look at things you wouldn't have thought of because there could have been changes.
The one other thing that came up not too long ago was just how do we continue to stay on top of recalls and things like that. I happened to come across something just accidentally. I don't even know how I did it about the bath seat that my granddaughter uses and my grandson. It was the same one. And
Right.
they said there was a recall on it. And how do we stay on top of those sorts of things? I don't know if there's a recall central or something. Do you know?
I don't know. I do know that I have purchased a couple things from Costco that have been recalled, and because your membership is on file, they email you. But Costco's the only store that has ever done that, and I guess it's because it is a membership type of club with your contact info.
I mean, most of the stuff these kids get, it's during the baby showers or birthdays, so you wouldn't
Right, you wouldn't know.
on every
Be
single thing, and there's not warranties on everything.
right, and you weren't the end purchaser because someone else purchased it.
Right. So I've just it's something to think about. Maybe we can do a little research on how do you find out when things are recalled? Like, is there a central location? And maybe you just put it in your calendar, like once a month, I'm gonna check the baby lid.
Kid, that sounds like a lot of work.
But you could use AI to do it for you. If you found the site, you could just say, check this once a month and send me the list of any.
That's a great app idea for someone who's well versed in that realm because you could just as you purchase things or get things as gifts for your kids, just scan them and put them in X app, whatever it is, and have some kind of central loading that if anything is recalled, it comes up on that app.
Yep. That's
Maybe there I don't think we're the geniuses out there. Probably has been invented. We'll just have to like you said, we'll have to research it and see what's out there.
yeah. I'm gonna actually do some of it while we're talking right now. With my little thought companion over here.
Yeah, that's I hadn't even thought about recalls, but I feel like if you're on that side of Instagram or TikTok as a young mom, like, a lot of that stuff comes up organically, but you just don't want something to slip through the cracks either.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a site, it's called recalls.gov. It's a federal government's recall portal. It pulls recalls for all consumer products, toys, appliances, furnitures, food, medications, medical devices, vehicles, boats. So you could start there. There's the FDA major product recalls. So that's for foods, cosmetics, medications, dietary supplements. And then there's one for vehicles as well.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. So I guess you could probably set up, depending on how either you could do it or as a grandma, you could ask your kid to do it for you, or parents should, a lot of parents listen to this too. But I would run create a little chat GPT agent to do it for you, or Claude agent to do it for you. So you don't have to search. Otherwise, just once a month, go to recalls.gov and look up toys and see what's come up.
Yeah, such a good point that I hadn't really thought about because things can change so quickly, and you definitely wanna know about these sort of things.
Yeah. So while you're, let's say, getting a mani pedi, for those of you that do that, you could easily spend a few minutes to look that up. I don't
Yes,
get, I don't have time for mani pedis, but
I had a
still,
petty yesterday with my daughter,
yeah.
and we just chatted, so we weren't scrolling.
Well,
But, yeah, it's some time in every day at some point, I feel like there would be.
could find time if it's important.
Yeah, this is I was thinking about this yesterday in regards to recalls and so forth. I saw a TikTok, and I also think we're just fed so much information, you don't wanna be a fear monger either, but we use glass straws, and someone got, like, a glass shard caught in their throat, and it was a big ER visit. So then I was like, "Do I throw all of our glass straws away and change to stainless steel or silicone or something else? Or am I just fear-mongering and it's like a 1 in a million chance something like this would happen?"
Well, first, I've never even heard of glass straws.
Yeah, they're like tempered glass, and I will say, like, I've dropped them on the ground and they haven't shattered, so I feel like they're durable for sure,
Hmm.
but it just brought me to like, how and of course, I did chat GPT it and look into it, but, like, how do you know if something is really dangerous or it's a one-off and it probably will never happen to anyone else?
Well, that could be, but
But then you also wonder at what point are people trying to make money for views? I mean, this lady seemed to really be in the hospital, so I'm not saying she did that, but it's just so hard to know what is made up and what is fact on the internet now too.
yeah, true. It's so hard to believe anything. And remember all those people that used to, like, in the old days, if they wanted a free meal, they'd put, like, a piece of hair or a bug or something in their food
Oh,
to
yes,
make it a free
I
meal.
hadn't thought about that in so long, and people are probably still doing that, to be fair.
I know, maybe it's something along the same lines, like, "Okay, I'm gonna do something so I get some money out of it." I don't know, I'm with this all the social media and fake stuff going on, I'm so not trusting of anything.
I know, I'm in the same boat, and then people are getting paid for clicks, which makes it incentivizes them to put crazy things out there to get the views.
True. So true, and it's hard. Hey, we know it's hard for content sometimes, and so they wanna keep getting it, and so they go get crazier and crazier, and then sometimes it's probably fake.
Oh, yeah, or set up or I
Yeah.
know, I'm a skeptic as well, but I just came across this and I thought, "Huh, wonder if I should get rid of all the straws."
Well, honestly, I don't know if I'd give it to the kids, though. Maybe just you adults.
True. Yeah, no, I agree. Because also just
My
even,
grand
like, with stainless steel or glass or any of those kind of straws that don't have movement, you just don't want a kid falling on it and puncturing their mouth or something.
That's true.
So
That's
that would always have made me wary having kids use it anyway,
yeah. The
because
same
it doesn't have the give like a plastic straw or a paper straw or a silicone straw.
yeah, I agree. Silicone's probably the best one.
That's what I was thinking as well. A lot of straw talk, but I I'm a straw lover. I tried not to do it for a while 'cause I saw the thing about how it wrinkles your upper lip so badly,
It's
but
so true. I've used straws my whole life, and I look like a smoker around my lips.
that's exactly what I was finding, and so then I did give them up for a while, but it was short-lived because I love a straw,
Hard, I know, because you're drinking and then the ice gets stuck and then the water falls down your shirt. I don't know.
and it slams in your face and
Okay, we're just being silly now. But hey, the toy recalls, it's not as bad as you think. Since 2024, 1, 2, 3, there's only been 8 recalls.
oh, wow, that's
Well,
impressive, much
October
less
20,
than I thought.
so like the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's good.
Not as bad as we think.
Yeah, and the diaper thing is really not fear-mongering because this is like a chemical burn they're finding that's being caused, so
Yeah, I did look, it hasn't gotten to the recall list yet, but I'm sure if they start doing more research on it after this class action lawsuit, it probably will.
right, I think they probably it's such a new thing that it was reformulated, they probably have to get all their ducks in the row and show all the proof, and
Yeah,
she is filing it with the consumer protection group just to make so it's another filing that people can be aware of so they see a pattern of these things too, so they can really find out what's going on.
yeah, agreed.
So, well, I do have a fabulous find, and I think it's a good one.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, throughout my kids' life, I was a very, very picky shoe person when they were young because I wanted their feet to develop properly. We've had a lot of talk about
Mhm.
this sort of thing on our podcast too. So, like many grandmas and moms, took the kids to a Stride Rite or Nordstrom to get fitted professionally. We talked about that when my granddaughter got her first pair of shoes. But Walmart now carries Stride Rite for half the price.
Interesting.
And it's actually Stride Rite, so it's called Stride Rite Munchkin, it's made for Walmart, but rather than $40 to $60, they're $16 to $20. Same shoes.
Hmm. But I thought the Stride Right ones were, like, harder on the bottom because 'cause I've heard we need to go real soft so their feet don't like, their
No,
feet
they have flex.
do they? Okay.
Yeah, because that's all we've gotten, the girls. And they definitely have a lot of they're very flexible. Wide toe box, all the things that they say that the kids need, but the downside was the $50 pair of shoes that they're going to outgrow quickly.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
looked at Walmart and they had a wide variety of tennies, sandals, not the same variety as the whole line of Stride Rite, but definitely plenty of options. And for $16 to $20, I feel like you can't beat it.
so true. I just got my grandson, he's so cute. When they're little, they're just so innocent. So, his first pair of shoes grandma got him were from Target, and they were Spider-Man shoes because that's what
Oh,
and he loved them, but his feet are getting a little bigger. So last week we went to Target and I says, "Okay, pick out some new shoes." And I'm looking at like black sneakers or, just regular running shoes, which I've gotten them too. And he goes, "I want the yellow ones." And they were construction shoes. Mhm.
like boots?
No, they're like little sneakers, but they have construction things like tractors, excavators, stop signs, like little warning cones on them and
Oh,
stuff.
those are adorable.
And so I'm looking at them and they're so busy. Oh, and of course they light up.
Of
So
course.
I said, okay, that, grandmas, we don't care, so I let him get them. And then we went to visit my husband at the pool and he was showing off those construction shoes. He's running around meeting all of my husband's friends at the pool. And he says, "Look, they light up and they're construction." And it was just so adorable.
That is the cutest thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I know isn't it fun to let them choose their own things and see their personalities
Oh,
and
loved them. I try and I was like, "Okay, let's get some real, sneakers that go with everything." Nope, he is getting the yellow ones.
no, it has to be fun with grandma. Come on, black is boring.
I know, exactly. But it was oh, I just love that innocence. And all the adults were just thrilled to hear him and how excited he was, and it was just very, very cute.
Adorable. Yeah, such a fun stage.
I know. We're gonna miss it when then they say, "Okay, the $15 to $20 shoes don't cut it anymore. I want the new top of the line Nike."
That $150 to $200 shoe.
Use and that was
Like,
something I don't know for you, but for girls, as they got older, they wanted lots of different things, and they would go cheap, it wasn't a big deal, but for boys, it was like, I don't care if I have 1 pair of shoes, I want it to be top of the line shoe.
no, it's exactly the same in my house, and I was just thinking as you were saying it, the funny thing was my son was a shoe kid from the beginning. He loved the light up shoes when he was younger, loved them. Then it moved on to the expensive tennies, and then as he got older, that's what he would ask for Christmas always, and my mom would even be like, "I'm so tired of buying you shoes," and he's like, "Well, that's what I want."
Right. That's all I want was nice shoes.
Boys are shoe people for sure.
And girls, they'll just as long as it's cute, they don't care how much it costs. At least
Until until
I
they
don't
get
know.
older.
At least in my family, that's how it's been.
Yeah, that's how it was until I would say until they got older, and then there was specific things.
Well, and with social media now, I feel like there might be trending toward brands and, you know
Oh, I think that's definitely the case, and our kids were right before all that happened, thankfully.
yeah,
So we didn't have to deal with that, but even the younger kids I'm around now, they know all these brands, and I'm thinking, "How in the world do you know these brands at 7, 8, 9 years old?"
it's gotta be from social media.
Yeah, these nine-year-olds asking for Lululemon, come on.
I feel so sorry for their parents
I
because
know. Me
budget
too.
we were able to have, and there's no more coupons anymore.
I don't think coupons will help you with Lulu.
Exactly. Well, so we've just bantered today. It was fun.
Yes, we covered a lot of topics, but I definitely wanted to get the word out with the whole diaper thing because that's something I would have never considered. And I'm glad we got that out and we had a little chance to talk about product recalls too, which is something you don't normally think about.
And then if that happens to anyone or if you think that there's something going on, you can report it to the site called saferproducts.gov, saferproducts.gov altogether, and that helps regulators identify patterns.
Yes, I think it's important that all these things are reported so they can start establishing patterns.
Yep.
So,
And
anyway, well, it was fun. I'm glad we were able to catch up, do some chit chat.
yeah, so we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so we can continue to grow our community. Also follow us on Instagram at Working Grandmas Podcast, on Facebook at The Grand Balance, a Working Grandmas Podcast, and join our LinkedIn group, Working Grandmas. You can also email us at info@workinggrandmas.com or message us through any of our social media platforms.